You want to live frugally, but you're currently really worried about your money? In this video, I have 7 tips that will help calm your fears and help you make a plan for the next steps, whether your situation is great right now or whether you need a little help. I got you. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50, I give you tips and tools for frugal living, especially from the perspective of a mature woman. Y para mis amigas de habla hispana, bienvenido. Hoy vamos a hablar de lo que nos preocupa de nuestro dinero y lo que podemos hacer para calmarnos un poco. Let's do this. Number 1, and most important, if you're not currently worried about your money, but you clicked on this video anyway, first of all, welcome. I'm glad you're here, but don't start worrying just because you saw this video and saw that some people are worrying about their money. If you're doing okay, you're doing okay. Celebrate that, pat yourself on the back, and just keep going. As Dory would say, just keep swimming. You're doing fine. Number 2, if you're worried, read up on what's actually happening in the world these days, what's going on with your money, and what you can do about it. I found a wonderful article that I'm going to be referencing for the rest of this video. It comes from Ramsey Solutions, and yes, it's that Ramsey. I don't know who wrote this particular article, but it's on their website. And it talks specifically about what happens to the stock market at different times in history. A really wonderful and easy to read general overview. It also gives us ideas about what to do in a stock market crash. Now, I'm not a financial planner or particularly a financial YouTuber, but I found that all of these tips that were given in this article were super helpful, very calming for me. And so I want to share them with you one by one and talk about how we can apply these tips in our frugal lives. This leads us straight to tip number 3, which confusingly is the first tip given in the Ramsey Solutions article. So stay with me here, we can do this. The first tip that they give is refuse to panic. If you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when you were a kid, you probably remember the most important words when you're traveling the universe are don't panic. And I love the way that they have expanded on this and said, refuse to panic. Just decide, I am not going to panic. You feel the panic creeping up and you decide not to panic. I think for those of us who are struggling with frugal living, and I will raise my hand and say that over the last year, I have struggled with financial issues in my family. I have felt the panic rising up. And just seeing this in bolded print, refuse to panic, somehow gave me a sense of calm that I really wanted to share with you folks today. And I wanted to say that together, let's join our hands across our computers and across our devices and refuse to panic. Let's remain calm. Just to quote briefly from this article, dealing with the unknown creates uncertainty, and uncertainty left unchecked can become fear. Choose to stay clear and positive with your thoughts. So think about today, where do you need to get clear about your financial situation? Where do you need to get clear about your frugal living choices? Find clarity and find positivity in that clarity. Tip number 4, and the second tip in the Ramsey Solution article, is cut back on everything. And this is where many of us who are frugal living champions can pat ourselves on the back. If you're in a situation where you feel uncertain, and especially if you're still seeking clarity about your personal financial situation, think about all the wonderful things that you have done to cut back. Give yourself a pat on the back, and then look and see, is there anything else that I could cut back on? Sometimes we've cut back so much that there really isn't anything else to do. And in that case, you can sit back and say, yeah, I've done it. I have cut back. You do want to make sure that you take care of your food and your water, your clothing, your shelter, and then all of the basic things that help you to maintain those basic needs. Now, the Ramsey folks talk about something that they call the 4 walls, and they are, number 1, food, and I will include in that water, 2, utilities, 3, shelter, and 4, transportation. These are slightly different than the 4 that I usually give, but I want to toss those out there to add to the mix. Think about your basics, and then think about everything that's layered on top of that, and what can you cut back without sacrificing your actual daily and lifetime needs. You can do this. Number 5, and the third tip in this article, is follow the proven plan. Now, of course, this is a Ramsey Solutions article, and so they're talking about the proven plan offered by Dave Ramsey and company about the baby steps. If you follow something else, like I follow You Need a Budget, some other people follow other methods, but whatever is the proven plan that you have made work for you, now is the time to do that. In other words, you don't want to get fancy when things are confusing, when things are uncertain, when things are scary. You don't want to go and reach for way out there solutions that you don't know anything about, that haven't worked before. Instead, you want to reach for what has worked for you. This has been really difficult for me, and this is why I'm sharing this with you today. I have been a long-time fan of You Need a Budget, and I talk about it here all the time. But over the last 9 months to a year, I have found it very difficult to focus on the details of my You Need a Budget because of some financial things that are going on in the background of my life. And I have discovered recently the comfort of going back and digging into the details of what I know works for me. Whatever works for you. If you've been thinking, I'm scared, I need a new solution, that's possible. But first, reach in to what you know has worked before. What has given you comfort? What has given you clarity? What has given you steps that you can take to get out of difficult financial situations? In fact, I would love it if you would go down in the comments and tell me below, what is your proven plan? What do you do when things are not going well and you really need to refocus and refine and just dig into what really works? What is that for you? I want to know. By the way, if you're getting value out of this video, would you give it a like and consider subscribing? And if you'd like to contribute to the growth of the channel, click the link below for Buy Me a Coffee. There you can make a one-time contribution or you can become a monthly member. Now let's get back to these tips. Number 6, which is number 4 of the article, is if you're investing, stay invested. I don't talk too much about investments here because I usually on this channel focus on daily frugal living habits. But most of us have investments of some kind, somewhere in some stock market, somewhere on the planet. Stay invested. Don't withdraw your money right now. Remember that stock markets tend to rise and stock markets tend to fall. And when they rise, we often think it's just going to keep going up and up. And when they fall, we think it's just going to keep going down and down. Historically, neither of these things has proved to be the case. Over time, the U.S. stock market in particular has tended to rise gradually. But within that gradual rise, there are sharp peaks and sharp dips. As I'm recording this, we are in a very sharp dip. It will go up again, and it may go up rather precipitously, and then it may go down again precipitously. All indications for the last 100 years of history are that the stock market will gradually go up over time, but it will do it by going up sharply and then down sharply. This is how the stock market works, and we're in an uncomfortable phase of this if you're watching this at the time that it's being recorded. But stay the course, stay invested, keep your money where it is. See above under refuse to panic, and just keep your money going in the direction that you know is going to work in the long run. Last but certainly not least, tip number 7, or tip number 5 in this particular article is meet with an investment professional. I have had several different points in my life where I have found this particular piece of advice extremely helpful and in fact helped me calm down and helped give me life so that I could move forward. If you're in a place of confusion, look for a financial planner who works for your particular situation in life. Talk to them. Even if it's a 1-hour conversation that you're going to pay them for directly, that might be a great thing to just have another set of eyes on your financial situation and on your path through life seen through your finances. Every time that I've had the opportunity to meet with a financial planner who I really trusted and talk about my overall financial situation, I've come away from those conversations feeling like I knew what my next steps were. And I think just knowing the next step can bring a sense of calm. I'd like to close with a bonus message of encouragement, yes, also from this same Ramsey Solution article. It's talking specifically about stock market crashes. And many of us are thinking about those right now, but you may not be. You may be thinking about other very difficult things that are going on in your life. So as I read you this quote, I want you to insert here whatever is worrying you about your money. Here's what it says. Stay calm. You've got to choose to be patient and think long term here. And the whole article ends with this. Stay positive and focus on the factors that you can control. One of the most important little tidbits and little nuggets that I pulled out of this article was that if you're really struggling, this is not the time to go really hard on debt pay down, for instance. Pay the minimums, take care of your 4 walls or your 4 basic needs, and take your next step forward. Tell me down below in the comments, coming out of watching this video, what is going to be your next step in frugal living, in your finances, in your investments? As a frugal living community, let's take our next steps together. Let's remain calm together, and together we will change the world. I can't wait to see you again soon. Nos vemos pronto. Bye.